Hey Bougie, click. Do you feel forced to be modest? As a woman who has often been labeled as pretty, I've experienced firsthand the pressure to downplay my looks and be modest. It's like society has this unspoken rule that if you're attractive, you must hide it, or else you're seen as arrogant or asking for attention. And honestly, I'm fed up. Why is it that pretty women are forced to be modest, or they face hatred and backlash? Why can't we embrace our beauty without being judged? In today's video, we'll talk about the double standards, the stereotypes, and how we can navigate this tricky terrain while staying true to ourselves. Forced to be modest, the double standard pretty women face. Modest. Unassuming or moderate in the estimation of one's abilities or achievements. When a pretty woman acknowledges her beauty, all of a sudden, looks aren't everything. Unattractive women will then say, men like intelligent women with good character. But since when? Because the decenter men crew swear that all men are shallow and dusty. Research suggests that men are more visually oriented in their initial attraction due to evolutionary factors, where physical appearance can signal health and fertility. So, while many men do value emotional connection, intelligence, and shared values just as much as women do, they value it in women they are physically attracted to. The paradox of beauty, how society restricts pretty women from self-love. We're living in a world where beauty is everything, but apparently, the pretty women aren't supposed to love themselves or acknowledge their beauty. Well, it's all thanks to some deep-rooted societal norms and a messed-up comparison game. Because God forbid, they make the unattractive women feel bad by feeling good. If you are pretty, you aren't allowed to dress up or wear makeup, or you will be bombarded with questions like, who are you trying to impress, why are you so dressed up for just this, or why do you have on all that makeup? Even if you take a selfie and post it, you will be accused of thinking you are all that. Also, the only pretty women I see get a bunch of likes on social media are the ones that are half naked, and it's mostly by men. If a woman has pretty privilege and is viewed as competition, or men feel like she should be humbled because she already gets a lot of attention, she rarely gets a bunch of likes. The crazy thing is, average women who get a bunch of likes are allowed to be arrogant about it, even if those likes don't translate to the real world. However, if a pretty privileged woman who gets very few likes on social media but gets a lot of real-world attention has even a little bit of arrogance about her appearance, she is crucified. Women feel less threatened by women they don't see as competition, so they offer compliments that subtly reinforce their own perceived higher status. Insincere praise refers to compliments or positive remarks that are not genuine or heartfelt. It's when someone pretends to feel something they do not actually feel or says something they do not truly mean. Sometimes, people give insincere praise to validate their own self-worth. Complimenting someone they don't see as competition can make them feel more secure and superior. While pretty women receive fewer likes due to jealousy. People may feel envious of their looks and lifestyle, leading them to withhold likes or even leave negative comments. This phenomenon is known as social media-induced jealousy, where users feel threatened or insecure when comparing themselves to others.
Y'all have reserved self-love for ugly people because God forbid an actual attractive person realizes that they're attractive and posts about it and is confident. Y'all don't like that. Y'all want ugly people to love themselves because it doesn't intimidate you. But God forbid, a bitch who actually looks better than you knows that she looks better than you.
The burden of beauty. Pretty women often find themselves under a microscope, where their looks are both a blessing and a curse. Society places immense value on physical appearance, and those who meet conventional beauty standards are frequently praised and admired. However, this admiration comes with an expectation of modesty. When pretty women openly express self-love or confidence, they can be perceived as vain or arrogant. This double standard forces them to downplay their beauty to avoid backlash. The impact of comparison. The culture of comparison exacerbates this issue. Social media platforms, magazines, and advertisements constantly bombard us with images of idealized beauty. This relentless exposure can lead to feelings of inadequacy among those who don't fit these narrow standards. When pretty women express self-love, it can unintentionally highlight these insecurities, making others feel inferior. As a result, society often pressures beautiful women to be modest about their looks to maintain social harmony. The role of internalized misogyny. Internalized misogyny plays a significant role in this dynamic. Women are often conditioned to compete with one another for validation and acceptance. This competition can manifest as resentment towards those who are perceived as more attractive. When pretty women love themselves openly, it challenges the status quo and can trigger feelings of jealousy and inadequacy in others. This internalized misogyny perpetuates the cycle of women policing each other's behavior and appearance. The double standards are even worse if you want to be considered sexy. I have been slim and curvy my entire life. So, while I have a body, there are a lot of girls who are curvier than me. However, if I was prettier than a girl who had a better body, I was scrutinized more. I noticed when I first started going out to clubs that even if the curvier girl and I were dressed similarly, I would still get more attention. That often led to me being chastised for dressing sexy more than my unattractive curvier peers because even though they had better bodies, I was prettier. It was very confusing because rap culture is so prevalent in the black community that it would lead you to believe that black men liked curvier women. But honestly, I got and still get more attention than women with curvier figures even with the rise of the BBL. Most men like certain things no matter what race they are, and that's why I believe I have always been appealing to most races of men. Whether you agree or not, those things are a pretty face, long natural hair, an in-shape body, preferably someone he can pick up, and femininity. The complex dynamics of modesty and perception based on attractiveness. In today's society, the interplay between physical attractiveness and personality traits like humility and arrogance is complex and often rooted in deep-seated biases and stereotypes. A pretty girl must be modest to avoid negative perceptions, while an unattractive woman can exhibit pride and arrogance with less social repercussion. The halo effect and physical attractiveness. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where our overall impression of a person influences how we feel and think about their character. Attractive individuals often benefit from this bias, being perceived as more competent, moral, and likable. However, this positive bias comes with high expectations. When a pretty girl displays arrogance, it clashes with the societal expectation that she should be not only beautiful but also kind and modest. This dissonance can lead to negative judgments and even resentment. Modesty as a social expectation for attractive women. Modesty is often seen as a virtue, especially for those who are already perceived to have an advantage, such as physical attractiveness. Society tends to expect attractive women to be modest to balance their perceived privilege. When a pretty girl is modest, it reinforces the positive attributes associated with her appearance, making her more likable and approachable. Conversely, arrogance in a pretty girl can be seen as an abuse of her social advantage, leading to negative perceptions and even hatred. The double standard, unattractive women and arrogance. On the other hand, unattractive women do not face the same high expectations. Society often underestimates them, and their achievements or confidence can be seen as surprising and admirable rather than off-putting. When an unattractive woman displays pride or arrogance, it is often interpreted as confidence and self-assurance, qualities that are generally respected. This double standard allows unattractive women more leeway to express pride without facing the same level of social backlash. The role of stereotypes and biases. Stereotypes and biases play a significant role in these dynamics. Attractive women are often stereotyped as being less intelligent or more superficial, so they must work harder to prove their worth beyond their looks. Modesty helps counteract these stereotypes, making them more relatable and respected. In contrast, unattractive women are not burdened by these stereotypes to the same extent, allowing them more freedom to express their true personalities without fear of harsh judgment. Here are some examples that illustrate how attractiveness affects perceptions of modesty and arrogance. Workplace dynamics. In a corporate setting, an attractive woman who is confident and assertive might be perceived as arrogant or overly ambitious. Her colleagues might expect her to be more modest and accommodating due to her looks. On the other hand, an unattractive woman displaying the same traits might be seen as strong and competent, as her confidence defies the stereotype that unattractive people lack self-assurance. Media representation. In movies and TV shows, attractive female characters who are arrogant are often portrayed as villains or antagonists. For instance, Regina George from Mean Girls is beautiful but also manipulative and arrogant, which makes her a disliked character. Conversely, unattractive characters who show confidence are often depicted as underdogs or heroes, like the character of Betty Suarez in Ugly Betty, who is admired for her resilience and self-belief. Social interactions. In social settings, a pretty girl who talks about her achievements might be labeled as bragging or showing off. People might think she is trying to leverage her looks to gain more attention. However, if an unattractive woman does the same, she might be praised for her accomplishments and seen as inspiring, as her pride is viewed as a sign of overcoming adversity. Leadership perception. Research shows that leaders who are perceived as modest are generally more effective. Attractive female leaders who display modesty are often seen as more approachable and likable, while those who are perceived as arrogant face harsher criticism. In contrast, unattractive female leaders who are confident and assertive are often respected for their leadership qualities without the same level of scrutiny. Online presence. On social media, attractive women who post about their successes or share confident messages might receive backlash and be accused of being vain or self-centered. Meanwhile, unattractive women who share similar content are more likely to receive supportive comments and encouragement, as their confidence is seen as genuine and hard-earned. When a pretty privileged girl walks in, it often changes the dynamics of a room, drawing attention and sometimes altering how people behave or feel about themselves. People often compare themselves to others to gauge their own attractiveness and social standing. When someone more attractive enters the room, it can shift the focus and make others feel less confident about their own looks. Attractive individuals tend to draw more attention. When they enter a room, the attention that was previously spread out among others can become concentrated on them, making others feel less noticed. In social settings, attractiveness can be seen as a form of social currency. When a highly attractive person enters, they can be perceived as having higher social value, which can overshadow the attractiveness of others. Looks are everything until a pretty girl walks in. This phenomenon can be attributed to several psychological and social factors. Cognitive dissonance. When an attractive woman acknowledges her beauty, it can create cognitive dissonance for others, especially those who have attributed her success solely to her looks. Cognitive dissonance occurs when people experience discomfort due to holding conflicting beliefs or attitudes. To resolve this discomfort, they might downplay the importance of looks and emphasize other qualities. Insecurity and comparison. Unattractive women might feel insecure or threatened when an attractive woman acknowledges her beauty. This acknowledgement can highlight their own insecurities about their appearance. To cope, they might shift the focus to qualities beyond physical appearance, asserting that looks aren't everything to validate their own worth and achievements. Social conditioning and stereotypes. Society often conditions people to believe that attractive women have an easier path to success. When an attractive woman acknowledges her beauty, it can reinforce this stereotype. To counteract this, others might emphasize that success is not just about looks, attempting to balance the narrative and highlight the importance of other attributes like intelligence, hard work, and personality. Jealousy and resentment. Jealousy can also play a role. When an attractive woman confidently acknowledges her beauty, it might trigger feelings of jealousy or resentment in others. To mitigate these feelings, they might downplay the importance of looks and focus on other qualities, suggesting that success is multifaceted. The beauty is beastly effect. This effect describes the tendency to stereotype attractive women negatively, especially in professional settings. When an attractive woman acknowledges her beauty, it can be seen as arrogance or vanity, leading others to react defensively by emphasizing that looks aren't everything. Example scenarios. Social media, an attractive influencer posts about her beauty and confidence. Followers who feel insecure about their own looks might comment that looks aren't everything, shifting the focus to inner qualities and achievements to feel better about themselves. Friendship circles. In a group of friends, if an attractive woman talks about her beauty, others might downplay it by saying looks aren't everything to avoid feeling overshadowed and to highlight the importance of other traits like kindness and intelligence. Remember, to break this cycle, it's crucial to foster an environment where all women, regardless of their appearance, can embrace self-love without fear of judgment. Empowerment should be inclusive, encouraging women to support one another rather than compete. By celebrating diverse forms of beauty and promoting self-acceptance, society can create a space where pretty women can love themselves openly without making others feel inferior. The notion that a woman who's deemed beautiful by society's standards can't appreciate herself because it might hurt the feelings of those who aren't considered as attractive is a reflection of broader societal issues. It highlights the need for a cultural shift towards inclusivity and empowerment. A pretty woman should be able to love herself without fear of judgment or backlash. If you're a pretty girl, you have to tiptoe between confidence and modesty, or you're seen as arrogant. But if you're not as attractive, you can strut around with all the arrogance you want, and no one bats an eye. It's a messed up double standard that we have to abolish. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. What do you think? Are pretty girls forced to be modest? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie.